the Mount Diablo Unified School District regular scheduled school board meeting for March 11th, 2026. We always start with our statement. We recognize that the Mount Diablo Unified School District sits on the ancestral and unceded land of the Miwok, the Northern Yokut, and the successors of the sovereign Verona Band of Contra Costa County. As members of the Mount Diablo Unified School District community, it is vitally important that we not only recognize the history of the land on which we learn, but also we recognize the land that we inhabit and learn on is the ancestral land of these people who are alive and flourishing members of the Mount Diablo Unified School District and broader Bay Area communities today. Thank you, and please join us in the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. .3, review and potential approval of the minutes for the regular board meeting held February 25th, 2026.
Madam President, I move that the minutes of February 25th, 2026 be approved as presented.
Second.
Have a motion by trustee Mayo, second by trustee Nzewi.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm logged in.
Okay. I think we got it. It wasn't letting them join for some reason. It looks like he's in there.
I just logged.
Okay, I think we're good.
Yep.
All right, that passes 5-0-0. All righty. Next would be review and potential approval of the agenda. Dr. Clark.
I have no changes, Madam President.
I move that we approve the agenda.
Second.
We have a motion to approve by trustee Nzewi, second by trustee Mayo. And that passes 5-0-0. We now have our report out from business in closed session. Discipline, dismissal, and release of reassignment of public employee in closed session by a vote of 5-0. The board took action to approve the reassignment of one vice principal and one social work specialist to positions for which they are credentialed for the 2026-2027 school year. In closed session by a vote of 5-0, the board took action to approve the retirement of one employee per a separation agreement. And under liability claim, by Linda Cervantes, the board met in closed session and by a vote of 5-0 voted to reject a liability claim for damages pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.95, which was Linda Cervantes against Mount Diablo Unified School District. And that was all our business in closed session. Takes us to public comment.
You'll have a minute and a half.
Good evening. Members of the board, I'm John Kelly, and I represent the Bancroft Dual Immersion Families Association. First, let me say thank you to all 5 trustees for your service. I know how thankless this job can be. I served 2 terms myself. The Education Code requires 7 specific things to be done before something like what's going on at Bancroft can take place. None of those 7 things took place for the announcement by the district on the 28th of January. The district's response to our letter has been to hire a large outside law firm. That firm is defending the decision. No one is giving this board independent advice. That firm works for the district. You need independent advice on whether you have followed the law. The superintendent is your employee. You always have the power to say stop. Consult with parents, consult with teachers, then decide together. Under your own bylaw, 9124, you as a board can choose to obtain independent legal advice on what is taking place. You need someone who reports to you and only to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up would be Anna Maria. Okay, next up would be James Vaughn.
Members of the board, superintendent. I am a member, as a part of Area 1 and also an educator myself. And what I wanted to relate to the board is that what you're going to do is going to drive down the education of students. To ask brand new teachers in a new area to either take something that you've never done before, change everything you have, and start over again is very difficult, especially depending on how long a teacher's been a teacher. If they have been less than 5 years, they're trying to set their own schedule. 10 years, they have just begun their own schedule and they're beginning to educate on students in a way that they actually excel. Beyond that is what dual immersion should be. I have actually been a child of a teacher that actually has taught dual immersion for more than 20 years. The other thing that I'll tell you, moving teachers from one area to another is not helpful at all as well. It actually changes the entire environment and the entire way that actually teachers will actually acclimate to where they are. Doing this process of just changing dual immersion to another school will actually drive down your scores. And we all know CASP and other scores are important, especially to school districts. If you want to maintain those, my suggestion is you keep Bancroft where it is. Try and hire or figure out how you can actually get Woodside to actually have a dual immersion program. Because if you do this, there will be more detrimental education to your children than anything else. And I believe that is my time.
Thank you.
Next is Bobita Vaughn. Is that good? Okay. Okay, come on up.
Good evening, members of the board. I am a retired teacher, a dual immersion retired teacher from Pittsburgh Unified School District. I am also the grandparent of Marie and Jeremy Vaughn, who go to Bancroft. It has been my experience as an educator that when there is a school who has a strong parental support and extremely capable teachers, children cannot do anything but succeed in their endeavors. It's my understanding that this district is considering to move the highly achieving dual immersion program from Bancroft to Woodside Elementary School. I don't mean to demean the staff at Woodside, but why move a program that works to an unknown situation? If something is not broken, please don't try to fix it. Children don't do well when personnel and surroundings are strange to them. Additionally, if you aim to unite two programs into one, have you considered the consequence this will have on everyone? Why are you going to burden the Woodside staff with more children in their classroom? Or are you going to provide them with more personnel to alleviate the situation? Has anyone looked at the numbers to see what impact will have on these students and the Woodside students? Are you going to provide more bilingual teachers and aides so that there is ample space to provide for a comfortable and positive learning environment? This transfer will bring our children's high performance level down and damage their future success. Please consider
Thank
your
you.
actions. Thank you very much.
Next is Jorge Oliva. Oh, okay. Jorge. Jorge. Jorge, is that, oh, it looks like an O. Sorry.
Hi, thank you again for your time. I actually have a question for the board. When the district canceled the program and then denied the Proposition 58 request without the required steps, both actions, or the demographic study of the consequences, does the district believe that it followed the law, or do they believe that the law does not apply to them? That's my general question. Why is eliminating one of the strongest academic program? Why are we eliminating this program without a credible reason or actually sustained reason? 94% of voters say maintaining a high quality education in our schools is important to them, according to your own survey that we saw last week. This program produces bilingual students with strong academic results and attract families to the districts. If this is about enrollment, then keeping this program will bring enrollment. Eliminating it will decrease the enrollment. And I actually heard Dr. Clark saying in September that in order to increase enrollment, we need to have high quality programs and engage with the families, which were here. But if we are eliminating this program, 40% of voters only 40% of voters have favorable views of the district. We will make
Thank
sure
you.
that they will remember this.
Thank you.
Elizabeth Silva.
Hello, board. It's nice to see you all again. I feel like I'm getting to know you all a little bit at this point. On February 11th, Dr. Gili presented to the board and cited poor performance of English language learners as one of the reasons why the program would be phased out of Bancroft Elementary. But of the 6 Spanish English immersion programs in Mount Diablo Unified School District, Bancroft ranks #1 for English learner performance. The district presented combined data from 2 separate programs. When disaggregated data was later shared, the picture changed. The performance of English language learners in the English-only program at Bancroft was very low. Less than 6% were proficient in English language arts. But when you look at the TWDI language learner performance, it was 3 times better than that in the English-only section of the school. So the district is closing the program that really works. Was program quality taken into account in this decision? You know, we can assume that there was no thought to program quality when this decision was made. The program attracts students to Mount Diablo Unified School District. How will enrollment in Mount Diablo Unified School District be affected when this program goes away? We know there are 6 programs in the district, 1 in Bay Point, 4 in Concord, and 1 in Bancroft's program in Walnut Creek. I support having a 5th program in Concord, 100% at Woodside Elementary. It's going to be the 3rd TWDI because the other 3 are one. So what we want to
Thank
do,
you.
yep. So
Thanks.
please support us. We want to work with the district.
Elizabeth Olivas. There she is.
Good evening. My name's Elizabeth Kluek-Olivas. I'm here to address some of the other claims in the letter already referenced. The first one is Bancroft is overcrowded because of the TWI program. but the data does not support this. Bancroft's enrollment grew when TWI was initiated, but it has held steady in recent years, even after the district added 2 TK classes at Bancroft. More telling, the neighboring Walnut Acres Elementary, which has no TWI program, shows virtually identical enrollment growth over the same period. If TWI was the driver of this overcrowding, then Walnut Acres, which does not have TWI, would not track so closely. I personally have a friend whose child was moved from Walnut Acres to Valle Verde because it was so overcrowded there. We don't have that same issue at Bancroft in the monolingual classes. As you said, there's space in each monolingual class, but TWI is actually the one that's full at Bancroft. The other point, since I have a little more time, is that Foothill is impacted by TWI students. The transfer requests don't support this. They are flat and stable over the last 7 years. Foothill actually experienced this enrollment drop between 2015 and 2022, predating any TWI related pressure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jose?
Good evening, members of the school board. My name is Jose Olivas. I have a son in the TWDI program at Bancroft and an incoming TK student, and I'm urging the board to issue a pause on the transition to Woodside so my daughter can attend the program at Bancroft. I'm here to rebut a claim that was made in the letter that was issued by Dr. Clark that this is a move and not a termination. Relocating Bancroft's program to Woodside Elementary in Concord without consultant parents, family, ELAC, or the school site council is not a neutral administrative transfer. It is the elimination of the only Spanish immersion program in Walnut Creek, serving a predominantly Latino and English learner population, and replacing it with a program geographically separated from those families by city lines, demographics, and access barriers. The demographic data makes the equity stakes undeniable. Bancroft sits in Walnut Creek and feeds into the Foothill Northgate corridor, where the student body is predominantly white and Asian, with only 1.8% English learners at Northgate. Woodside feeds into Oak Grove Middle School and Ignacio Valley High School, where the student body is 76% Hispanic and Latino at Oak Grove and 80% at Ignacio Valley, with 47% and 33% English learner populations, respectively. Moving the only bilingual pathway out of the Walnut Creek feeder corridor. Oh, excuse me. Thank you.
Sol Lopez Vasquez?
Good evening. Thank you so much for the invitation. My name is Saul Lopez. I live in Pittsburgh and work in Concord. Today, I want to share my experience with Monument Impact and how it makes a positive difference in my life and my current job. I hear about technology program through a friend and enjoy it in 2025 because I want to improve my skills for work. I started with the intermediate class and now I'm enrolled in Camino's advanced class. Through the program, I've been improving my confidence in learning skills in Microsoft, OneDrive, and QuickBooks. The program includes professional development and mock interviews to help us to prepare for the better opportunities. Another important part of the program is learning English through the Monument Impact partnership with Loma Vista. I'm able to improve my English. Distance learning is fantastic option for work adults. I spend about 10 hours a week on Burlington and meet with my English teacher every 2 weeks. Monument Impact makes a difference in our community by helping people growing and gain confidence and building a better future for those that great teacher about her and a strong collaboration with the urging their work and truly improving people's lives. Thank you.
Thank
Just want
you.
to share this. Thank
Tatiana Dutra, I'm going to mess up your name. Dutra-Imelo? Okay.
Good evening. My name is Tatiana Dutrimello, and I teach at one of Mount Diablo Adult Education's Family Literacy Center. Our program is unique. While parents learn English and workforce skills, their preschool-aged children are right there with them, being prepared for elementary school. We frequently see our these families. These children frequently act as translators at doctor's appointments and school meetings. Just today, thank you. Just today, a 9-year-old boy walked into my classroom leading his father by the hand. He looked at me and said, "Mr. English, help him." At 9 years old, he already felt the weight of the language barrier. He to help, but he shouldn't have to carry that burden alone. Adult education transforms lives with a speed that K-12 can match. All this comes with a sense of urgency. They don't have a decade. They have months or years to become career ready and navigate American life. For the children and that the child's success is intrinsically linked to the parent's literacy and economic stability. Is stabilized and children thrive. Thank you for your attention.
Susanna Hernandez.
Hello, my name is Susana Hernandez. I'm from Mexico. I had 3 children in the district. I studied English at Loma Vista. When I came in 2004, I brought my daughter. She was 7 years old, was very frustrated for both because we need to understand how to enroll in the school. We have many problems, both because I work 6 days a week, 12 hours a day. And after them, I had to help my daughter to do the homework. I don't know how, but I helped her a little bit. But we were very frustrated because we don't understand a lot English. This is why I studied at Loma Vista. Thank you.
Rosalba Rodriguez. Okay, Carla Mundo.
Good evening. My name is Carla Mundo. I mothered the 2 little boys and I studied the ESL. I'm writing this letter for us. My name is Carla Mundo. I have 2 beautiful boys. They have autism level 2. They are students in Mount Diablo district in the Family Literacy Centers. I am a student del Family Literacy Center Meadow Homes. I am a student. My teacher is Susan Roche. Every day, Monday to Friday, my kids get very happy. They like to go to school. My first boy, he is a student in El Monte Elementary School. He has education special. Since he has 5 years old, the teacher, she is very professional. She is teaching him. Jacob is his name. He is progressing very well. He is a good student. He's ready for graduate the ELD. He is in 3rd grade. He starts in January class in the morning, first class. He has a speech class 2 days at the week. My second boy, his name is Derek. He is in Middle Homes School too. He is in general class, but he is very smart. He has a speech therapy in a bilingual class. He is a student in the district too. He receives help so that he can focus in his class. He loves his school. He is excited every morning. He wants to come to school. Sorry. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Alondra Madera?
Hello, my name is Alondra Madera, and little speak English no more. Okay, I am a student in English class, Mirohon Family Literacy Center. I feel I like my class, I like my classmate and teacher, Susan Roche. I want to learn English because I want my license right and speak English with my family. I have two daughters. They are students in different schools. They take ELD class because I want them to be bilingual. They are good students. Kimberly is my big daughter. She is a student in Concord High. She wants to learn psychology and in the future. Katie is my little daughter. She likes to animals. She is a student in Dorado Middle School. She likes animals. I want to be veterinarian. I like it to get involved in the school. I participate in meetings and volunteers. Thank you.
Thank you. Martha Garcia Zapata. Right here? Okay. Marin Anton.
I'm Marin Anton. I'm an instructor at Loma Vista Adult School, and I'm reading on behalf of a student, Rita Siegel. It is Wednesday morning, dear school board members, and I am in class with my friends and teachers. We are talking about how important our class is. I am a mother of two children. My son is in Oak Grove Middle School, and my daughter is in Meadow Homes Literacy. English is not my first language, so I feel I have to improve my English. All of the information comes from the city and school district in English. As a mother, I feel you don't always recall translators. Learning English has to be my highest priority for my children. I have been learning my reading and writing skills too, and I want to continue this class. Meta Homes is near for me, and my daughter is also in this school. I can continue my class with my daughter. I hope we can continue this class. Please hear my small voice. Sincerely, Rita Sigdal. Thank you.
You? Okay, now we have, is it Tahiva Khan? Okay. We'll do it, and then we'll go back.
We have one more. We'll come back to you right after her. Yeah.
Good evening. My name is Tatiana, and I have two children in the Spanish immersion program at Bancroft Elementary. I was born and raised in Mexico, and I always admire the public education system here. When I found out about Bancroft Elementary, I was impressed by the great outcomes and the welcoming school community that has become like family to me over the past 3 years. My family has sacrificed so much so that my daughters can attend Bancroft. I am worried that my daughter is in the last class at this school, and I'm worried that the quality of the program will decline. I am deeply concerned about the stability of the program and our teachers during this transition. Dr. Clark and members of the school board, please don't close the door on this successful program. We must replicate it, not eliminate it. I visit Woodside Elementary School. While I hope the program will success there, I also want us to be able to continue having this wonderful program in the city of Walnut Creek at Bancroft Elementary School. Let's build on this success, not replace it. Don't take this program away for our families and our community. I would like to say something in Spanish. El 41% de los californianos son de origen hispano, lo que representa el grupo demográfico más numeroso de nuestro estado. Nuestras escuelas públicas deberían reflejar esta realidad ampliando las oportunidades. Gracias.
Thank you.
Paula?
Good evening. I'm talking name with my friend. She's not here, but this is the letter from her. My name is Elena Santos. I am 41 years old. I am a student at Meadow Homes Family Literacy Adult English class. I have a son. He comes with me to school. We come Monday to Thursday at 8:15 a.m. But almost every day we have trouble to find parking. But it's okay because I love to come to school, meet my friends, classmates, and my excellent teacher, Susan Roach. I learn a lot with her. She has a lot of patience to teach us. She is friendly and lovely. I learn grammar, how to write, speak, and understand what she does for us. I hope she gets a payment increase because she deserves this and more. This school helps me and my son. In the beginning, my son cried a lot. Now it's incredible. He's changed. Now he is happy to come. He wakes up happy and he says, "Yeah, we go to school." This reaction makes me so happy because I know I made a good decision to come to Meadow Homes. I'm sorry if you see errors in my letter. It's why I am here to learn more day by day. I hope you are doing well. I heard that you have come before. We hope you visit us soon. Best regards, Elena Santos.
Jessica Lee.
Good evening, board members. On February 27th, I submitted a completed Proposition 58 petition requesting that the district evaluate maintaining the two-way dual immersion program at Bancroft. State regulations allow districts up to 60 days to conduct a feasibility review. That time exists so districts can analyze data and meaningfully evaluate requests. However, the district issued its determination just 6 days later on March 4th. Compressing a 60-day process into 6 days raises serious questions about whether a real feasibility review occurred. Families are asking for good faith process, transparency, and decisions grounded in the law. We have a petition with 600 signatures. We now have a website, www.bancroftdualimmersion.org. Please go check it out. This decision has activated hundreds of parents, and we are going to continue advocating to save the Spanish program at Bancroft. Please listen to us and our families, your constituents. We want to work with the district to find a solution that works for our families and also meets the district's needs. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Melanie Gallialo? By now you think I get it right, huh?
Good evening, board members. I'm here again advocating to save the dual language program at Bancroft. I hope you can all see how important this program is to so many of us. In regards to the change from Bancroft to Woodside, I feel the district did not consider all families affected by this decision. The plan addressed current families in the program by allowing them to finish out their years at Bancroft, and it also considered new families by starting the program at Woodside. However, families currently enrolled at Bancroft with younger siblings who are expecting to enter the program in the coming years were not considered. Dr. Clark referred to this as an inconvenience in a recent news interview, but for many of us, it is far more significant. This decision impacts our children's opportunity to receive the same educational experience as their siblings. It also creates serious logistical challenges for families, and most importantly, it does not prioritize keeping families together within the same school community. There are alternative solutions that could help address this issue while still allowing the district to move forward with its goals. I again respectfully ask that the district pause this phase out, consider reducing the program to one class at Bancroft, or explore a transition plan that better supports all families affected. Thank you. And I'd also like to just reiterate, all the families, we can see just how important language is in general. I used to be that 7-year-old translating for my parents and for my aunts and uncles. At work, I speak Spanish every day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, board members. I'm here again advocating to save the dual language program at Bancroft. I hope you can all see how important this program is to so many of us. In regards to the change from Bancroft to Woodside, I feel the district did not consider all families affected by this decision. The plan addressed current families in the program by allowing them to finish out their years at Bancroft, and it also considered new families by starting the program at Woodside. However, families currently enrolled at Bancroft with younger siblings who are expecting to enter the program in the coming years were not considered. Dr. Clark referred to this as an inconvenience in a recent news interview,
Theodore Landavazo.
Hello, board. My name is Theodore Landavazo. I'd just like to introduce myself really quickly. I would like to say to the board, thank you guys for your guys' public service. Me, myself, as an adult, I've been doing public service my whole life since I was 18 years old in the emergency medical system. I devoted my life to the public. I've been a foster parent for 8 years. I've adopted 2 boys, and I have my children in the dual immersion program. 3 of them are currently in it, and my youngest son is going to be coming into the program, but due to its closure, he won't be able to go to school with his brothers and sisters. So what I'm asking for today is so you guys can just take a look at everything. You guys have heard all the similar stuff. I don't really want to, keep saying the same thing, but I think it's really important that we try to keep families together and we do the best that we can to serve the public that we serve, right? Thank you.
Thank you. That is all of our public comment cards. As every other meeting, I want. Oh, you missed it. It was like getting your ticket pulled and you're not there. No, I'm just kidding. Come on.
Good evening, board members. My name is Ana Maria. We have been told that one of the reasons that the program cannot be maintained at Bancroft is due to lack of funding. Yet the district appears to be ready to allocate significant resources toward potential legal proceedings. I have to ask, why is there money available for that and not for students, for teachers and schools? And this same district that is currently considering a bond measure. If there is appetite to ask this community for more funding, then the community has every right to ask, can we trust how those dollars will actually be spent? That question becomes even harder to answer when this decision is moving forward despite a clear failure to follow proper process. This community deserves transparency. I urge the board to pause, follow the process, and demonstrate that it can be trusted before asking any more funds from the community. Thank you.
Thank you. And as once again, I thank all of you for your comments and your politeness, and you're welcome to stay for the rest of our meeting if you'd like. To board member, report. Dr. Clark?
What about
Oh,
communication?
oh, I almost forgot, Linda. Thank you. Linda Ortega.
Just waiting my turn. Okay. Good evening, President Mason, trustees, Dr. Clark, members of the audience. Happy Women's History Month. I love data. So according to a recent study, 77% teachers working in K through 12 public schools are female. I saw that when I was a teacher in the classroom, with that percentage increasing to 89% when only elementary grades are considered. So we have a lot of wonderful women teaching in our classrooms, and I just want to acknowledge them as well as our male teachers, but this is Women's History Month. But unfortunately, in other professions, men still outnumber their female counterparts in executive positions and in pay. This is why we need to continue to value the work our educators do and remember that we all need to invest in public education. As you know, Medea is bargaining with the district, and I'm here to speak on behalf of our adult educators. And you heard from many of the parents and the teachers and the students themselves that our adult educators are actually some of the most lowest paid educators or teachers in California. But yet they impact so many. As I have said before, I will continue to advocate for what is best for our students, our educators, and our community. And we can see that our adult educators really make an impact in our community, and it is a positive one. Therefore, I would like to share that the district, please, trustees, tell your bargaining team to please provide us with a reasonable offer. I don't think we signed anything today, so I'm curious what's going on there. I also want to acknowledge all the 2026 Teachers of the Year and the 2 finalists who represent Mount Diablo at the county level. They too were 2 female educators. To our educators who show up every day and educate our students, you are appreciated. And I know some of you are listening right now. I want you to know that Medea Leadership appreciates all the work that you do. On that note, today I had the privilege of visiting several schools with some administrators and some of my own members. I saw firsthand the well-taught lessons and many students engaged. Classrooms that were filled with activities and students working together. I am often asked by members if they should invite a school board trustee. And I say, yes, of course, please do. I know they would love to see the wonderful things that you're doing in your classrooms. So today, I want to focus on the positives and to say again, my goal is to continue to work collaboratively with the district. So together we can make Mount Diablo a destination district. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Reports.
So we are, tonight, we are thrilled to receive a report, item 10.1, Transportation Department Update and Home to School Transportation Survey Overview. And our very own Adrian Vargas is going to introduce Chris Lepe.
Thank you, Dr. Clark. It is my pleasure to introduce Chris Lepe, the Director of Transportation. He's going to give you an update of what his department supports in the district. I think the timing is very good with the transportation survey that's on the agenda, as well as a pretty large purchase that's on the agenda. So with that, like I said, Chris is going to tell you about all the great things we do within his department. There you go.
All right. Good evening, everybody. President Mason, distinguished board members, Dr. Clark. I'm here to talk about my transportation department, and I will tell you, I am very proud of my department. I think that'll show. So let's get with it. Whoa, what happened? So we start all our meetings with the LCAP goals, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All the work that we do is rooted in the LCAP goals. And part of this presentation is LCAP goal number 3, just being transparent. Also 4 and 5, you'll see that we do quite a bit of work for. Our department mission is in our all of our literature. So if you go to our transportation safety plan, if you go to our special education parent handbook, as well as general education parent handbook, it starts off with our mission statement. This is a general overview. You can see the LCAP goals are embedded in there as well. Being respectful, inclusive work environment, supports continuous personal and professional growth. I believe in being a student of the business. Some will say lifelong learners. We service 150 square miles of our area here, and we drive over 1 million miles a year. Now you're going to ask, how do I know that? Because I have to report it to CHP. So every year we have to report that to CHP, let them know how many miles we're driving, our school bus drivers are doing, right? Total of 109 buses. We've gone down a couple buses because we had to retire a couple of them. 23 electric buses. Why do I highlight 23? Because those were all grant buses. The school district did not pay for those buses. Those were 3 grants that were awarded by the Carl Moyer grants from the Bay Area Air Quality Management District to help our communities, especially our impacted communities in the Bay Point area. We also have compressed natural gas, which we're going away from because that technology is just old, and now lower emission diesels are out, which we also run diesel buses, but we run a renewable diesel, not because we're required to, but because it's the right thing to do to have cleaner tailpipe emissions and reduce the soot that comes out of our tailpipes for our students, our community, and just the world in general. So when we talk about vehicles, like that's where I geek out on, because that's just where I come from. I'm sorry. Student transportation. What we do, our daily home to school, our obligations for students with transportation, the IEP. As you can see, we have 60 routes, 778 students, quite a bit, as well as our general education coming out of Mount Diablo. I believe, if I think I saw one of our Mount Diablo friends or Mount Diablo high school friends out here. We transport about 60% of the students going into Mount Diablo High School from Bay Point in our buses. We have 11 routes that do that. And then they also continue on to Olympic from our students that are coming from the Bay Point area. Olympic is part of our LCAP goal number 5. So that's where we support that. We also do Concord bus shuttles from Glenbrook to El Dorado and then back. And then we also do like a homework run out of El Dorado to capture our students that stay later for homework, and we bring them back to that area. Where it helps us get up to the mileage of over close to 1 million miles is our athletic transportation, field trip, extracurricular activities. We were in San Francisco today. We're planning to go to the Special Olympics, correct? We go to Camp Concord. I've been to Santa Cruz Mountains to pick up a class. I also hold a school bus certificate, which I did not have that 8 years ago when I started, and you guys were kind to bring me on. Our school bus drivers also are emergency and contingency support drivers. In case of a natural or an emergency, we're called upon to drive, right? I don't really like to talk about those things. Our drivers know about it. The training is there. I just don't like to focus on the negative. But we're there. Safety, oversight, and compliance. This is our bread and butter. Now, we're going to say LCAP goals, but safety is my number 1 priority. You'll always see that every decision that we make, everything that we do is rooted in safety. And then also our LCAP goals and supporting our students, our families, and our communities, and our sites, principals. And we have regulatory compliance with the California Highway Patrol, DMV, where we get our licenses, as well as the California Highway Patrol, federal motor vehicle safety standards on our school buses, and all the vehicles that transport our students. We also, our school bus drivers are enrolled in the Department of Transportation drug and alcohol tests for all our drivers. So we stay compliant with that. Every quarter, we have random drug testing for all our drivers to make sure that we're compliant with that. And we're making sure that our students are being transported safely by highly trained individuals, which is our drivers, which also our drivers do our safety inspections. This may be eye-opening to you guys, because I don't think the public knows about this. And I would love to highlight this, and that's what I'm going to do. Our drivers, professional school bus drivers, daily pre-trip and post-trip inspections. That means that they inspect their school bus before they go out on a run and when they come back. Complete inspection of the bus. Anything is found on that bus to be faulty, they write it up, give it to our great mechanics, they fix it, and then it's back on the road. Speak of our great mechanics, did you guys know that our school buses need to be inspected every 45 days or 3,000 miles? That's what we do. Our school buses are the most inspected vehicles on the road and also the safest vehicles on the road. My neighbor came over and knocked on my door yesterday and said, "Hey, can you look on my vehicle?" I opened up his hood and it was full of oil. I was disgusted. I was like, my buses would never. And then after our drivers do that, and I'm sorry, neighbor, after our, hope he's not watching. After our drivers are checking that, and then our mechanics are checking, CHP comes behind us and inspects all that on our annual terminal inspection. That gets done every July, and they check everything of our vehicles, our driver's times, our safety records, our training records, our drug and alcohol program. And then every quarter, they do their 292 inspections of our school buses where they recertify that bus. And we do it every quarter because our fleet is so large, the largest school bus fleet in the Tri-Valley area. That's what we operate. That's what we run. They check those every quarter. And we have consistent satisfactory ratings on our CHP. Year after year, year after year, and we pride ourselves in that. And when I say it's we, it's our support staff, it's our supervisors, it's our mechanics, it's our drivers, myself included. And then also we do education for students that ride on our buses, right? They just don't get on our buses and just ride. Just like when you get on a plane, Southwest now, right? You know where your exits are, you know where the emergency equipment is. And we also do emergency evacuation drills. We don't want this to ever happen, but we don't want it to be the first time that a student has to evacuate out of a bus is during an emergency. It is proven that if you have been trained in something, that when an emergency happens, it just clicks and you go, right? And that's what we want to do for our students. Again, safety. LCAP goals number 2. Sorry, Dr. Clark. Technology and safety tools. This is what we have aboard our buses. The safety enhancements that we have. You may see a school bus out there and you think it's alone. It is not alone. We have digital radio communication where we can communicate with our buses from the Grapevine all the way up into San Francisco and Tahoe. Onboard video systems that we just upgraded last year that the board approved those upgrades, right? GPS tracking, never alone. And also our great dispatch staff that keeps in communications with our school bus drivers. And if they need support, they're there. If they get to a place and they may not have been there before, and our dispatch will look at GPS, see where they are, zoom in and say, watch that brush on the right-hand side. You want to go around it. It's a second driveway, whatever it is. And then also our schedulers are also monitoring our routes to make sure that they're efficient, that we're just not running routes that are not efficient, and where we can condense those and make them better, lower the ride times for our students. We also had a transportation service plan survey. We put that out on the Friday letter, December 19th through January 23rd. And we also put it on our transportation website. And that was December 18th through January 31st. And the community gave us feedback. We like to get feedback. I do. It's like constructive criticism, and we'll never shy away from it. Because you may think you're doing a great job, but if you don't get that feedback, where can we make adjustments to be better? We asked 2 questions, which is part of our requirements for our 60% reimbursement from the state. And this is a question we ask. Is there anything you believe we should consider in the area of transportation? General responses that we put on there. In the consent agenda or the consent item, it's more detailed. Home to school transportation services requests, eligibility, student conduct. Those are things we look at and see where we can be better, where we can adjust. Do you have any other further questions, comments, or reviews of the transportation should consider? Again, generalized. I will tell you that we take a lot of these comments and suggestions. Like just recently we added a Rio Vista route, 3 stops, and we said, where can we best impact our community and our students with the resources that we have? And we added our Rio Vista route. We started off with 1 student. Yesterday, it's up to 24. And that's where we want to impact our schools for attendance. And we know that if the student attends, they learn. And if they learn, they succeed and they graduate. And that's what we're here for. I mean, that's what we're doing. Also, we help like our Olympic routes. We added 2 routes to our Olympic this year, one in the Monument Corridor. We transport a student with a child. The child's 5 months old. Car seats. We're buying more car seats. Whatever we have to do to get our students to school so they can learn and graduate and become career and college ready, that's what we're here for, right? And I'm not even going to talk about like classes we give or field trips that we have for transportation, or me talking to the auto class it was this Tuesday. Talk to the class about, where do you want to go for transportation. So we'd like to thank you for allowing us the time to speak on our great program. My team loves supporting our sites, our principals, and our community and our students. And we're the first ones to see our students and the last ones to see our students. And so that's a big thing for us. And a good morning and a have a good night goes a long way. And like our kids are great because I've driven a route before. They all are so nice. They say, thank you, have a good night. And they don't even know me, but it's great. So, any questions?
Thank you so much. My community have probably impacted and benefits the most from what you do, and it's very appreciated. I know several years ago, there was an evacuation and the kids had to be moved out, and without anybody making a phone call, your school bus drivers found out they were at the Bay Church and they were there to pick them up and take them to Mount Debo High School. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for all that you do.
Thank you so much.
And,
We appreciate that. And I will take that back to our team.
I will see if other board members have any comments or questions now.
Sure.
Trustee Mayo looks like she does.
Yes, I do. Because I'm a veteran board member and have observed this board for many years, I remember the years when Trustee Sherry Sterrett, who was a trustee in the 1990s, advocated for walkie-talkies on our buses so that we could locate them in case of an emergency or a flat tire or whatever the reason. And we've advanced from that to GPS and everything else that improves the safety and well-being of our students and drivers on the buses. I also made a comment a couple of years ago about something that I had read that you just reinforced, that students who ride a bus to school will graduate, particularly if those students are kindergartners and first graders. It sets the tone for that everyday discipline. I have a place to go, I have work to do, I have things to accomplish, and then I come home and play. So that's a routine that our students learn even in kindergarten and first grade in riding a bus. The final thing I wanted to mention is that I appreciate the changes that you have made in the start of the year around bus routes, because for those of us who attend the special ed CAC meetings, we have not had concerns expressed by parents about changes in the routes and student concerns and hesitancy to get on buses because the bus driver is different. And like you said, the students know that bus drivers trust them and value them. And so when the bus driver has to change for whatever the reason, it's an adjustment for our special ed students. And you've reduced that change that occurs naturally every year. So thank you very much for the changes and the work that you've done in the department. And thank you to all the drivers.
Definitely. I will let them know. I tell them that it is not me, it is them. It's my staff, it's my drivers, it's my mechanics. I'm just there to support. I do thank our special education department because they help us with that, knowing those, going to those trainings and knowing what our students with IEPs require and being able to support them with that. So thank you.
I appreciate this presentation, so thank you, Dr. Clark, for putting it on. Huge congratulations to your department for all the work that they do. And I want to specifically talk about you, Mr. Lepe, because I remember prior to you coming and just the multitude of challenges because the logistics behind coordinating 1,000,000 miles of driving each year are not insignificant, and that missed routes and many of the issues that I heard prior to your coming, and the work that you've done to help work with your team to improve that, and also if anyone has taken a look at gas prices recently, the fact that we have 23 electric buses goes a long way, and especially of the fact that MDUSD dollars did not go towards paying for those, that we received grants for those 23 buses is quite an accomplishment. So thank you.
And our infrastructure. And so just to add on that, thank you. Again, I take it, but I will give it to my team because they make me look good. Um, it, you know, the grants also gave us infrastructure dollars for level 2 with the help with Melanie Coslow and her great team. We're going to level 3. And so like your Tesla supercharging stations, that's what we're going to have at our yard. The city of Concord came to our yard last week because they wanted to know how we're so far ahead of the game. And when we told them that we didn't pay for that and it was grants, they just fell out because now they're having to say, well, I think we can do that if there's money available because the grants are not available for them. So thank you. Thank you so much.
I just wanted to make a comment. I see 23 electric buses out of 109. So you're roughly just under a quarter
Correct.
of your buses. And those were purchased by grants, which is good news. How do you foresee us in expanding or cutting back on electric buses?
It's a great question. And I was asked that question 5-6 years ago by Trustee Count. I remember it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, do you see us going full electric? Just like your portfolio, you have to diversify, right? You will have electric, but we also need diesel. The battery technology for electric is like every year gets better. Like I say, I don't buy electric, lease it, but because the technology gets better. So I could see us growing our electric fleet, but not to the point where it's 50% or 100%. We do want to grow it because that is the future. And in 2035, California is going to require for every vehicle to be electric that's going to be purchased. And so they're doing these things for fleets as well. With our diesel buses, CARB, California Air Research Board, is requiring our buses to be smogged this year biannually. So that means twice. That means your personal vehicle, you would have to smog it twice if it was, but our fleet is twice. Next year, we have to go 4 times. So what does that mean? We're having to pay those costs, just like you're paying smog 4 times. So having an electric, we don't have to do that because it's clean. And so we divert those funds to the electric, and because it is grant funded, and we're very conscious of spending dollars that are grants on these vehicles. As you can see, we have 3 diesel buses at a cost of $930,000. That's for 3. We got 23 for little to nothing, as well as infrastructure. So we really want to go for those because it helps our community, helps our district, and just our students. Like, I suffer from asthma, as you can probably tell right now, because I've been sick last week, but those things help. So
I'd heard
I hope
from,
that answered your question.
yes, you did. Another question. I've heard that in other districts that have electric buses, they've been running into problems with the Canadian manufacturer that's gone bankrupt. Is that affecting us much?
So we know because our buses are microbird and they're built by EcoTune. And so, I'm sure you know, I come from the automotive field. And so when we have had issues with our buses, I have zero qualms to talk to somebody and let's talk about automotive and how you're going to fix my buses and get them on the road. So we have dedicated mechanics from Microbird that fix our vehicles. And so the uptime on them is higher. You're talking about Lion Electric. We did not buy Lion Electric. I wanted to make sure that if we were buying from a manufacturer, it was a reputable manufacturer, and I believe the manufacturer that will stand next to us and not leave us and go bankrupt. And so Microbird is funded by Bluebird, which is a large American bus company, and they're not going anywhere. So we made the right choices of the bus manufacturer. Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
Sure.
So, Mr. Lepe, your response time also adds to the presentation time. So
Yeah.
I know we talked yesterday about this, but
that wasn't told to me.
So, but I just I want to, Mr. Lepe, I just want to commend you because this board really sets the vision for the district, and then it's my job to implement it. And the board says that they want all of our students to be supported, and the message that we constantly talk about throughout our leadership here in the district is that every department plays a critical role, and your department is right up there with all the other departments, and the personal touch that you put to it to ensure that our students who have to ride the bus and lots of people like to walk to school or ride with their parents or something like that, or drive themselves. But if they have to ride the bus, the environment that you have created really makes that the most optimal. And you're absolutely right. I've visited the shop before, and even in my clean shoes, the shop is spotless, and your people are so dedicated.
Yes.
Your mechanics are just right on everything. Your drivers, we really appreciate it. And your department is just as important as any other department in this district. And I love the pride that you have, and I love how student-centered you are as a leader, and it really shows. So again, thank you, and we'll be talking tomorrow.
I'm not going to say anything.
There you
My
go.
time's up, people.
Now you do. No.
Got it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Yeah.
All righty. Board member reports. You want to start us off, Trustee Mayo?
Sure. I'm waiting for it to pop up.
Mm-hmm.
So last night, Ms. Mason and I attended the Special Education Community Advisory Committee meeting, and there was an excellent presentation entitled Welcome to the World of AAC. AAC stands for Augmentative Alternative Communication, and the presentation was presented by Stephanie Self and Renee Burke. They serve as a team of 4, 2 educators and a technician and an assistant to serve 630 students in 100 classrooms across 40 schools in our district. And they provide devices for students so that they can communicate in our classrooms and on our playgrounds. It was fascinating to learn how simple and complex devices can be modified to support our young people. Dr. Gilley spoke about the joy of seeing a program success with a young student who is now ready to transition to an advanced level program, who was initially not communicative. These presenters' enthusiasm is very contagious, and I'm sure their goal will be achieved in that they want to be recognized for their work statewide. So keep an eye on our two presenters. I would like to remind you to mark your calendars for the Special Ed Advisory Committee's Celebration of Success to be held on March 24th at 6:30 p.m. at Concord High School. And remember to bring your tissues as we celebrate these students because it's very moving. Finally, I've talked about the Contra Costa Science and Engineering Fair a couple of times. I want to share proudly that 2 Northgate High School students entered the fair that was held at Las Madonnas College. Their project boards were reviewed by judge teams 2 hours in the morning and then 2 hours in the afternoon. They were interviewed in person by our judge teams. And the awards were presented on Saturday, March 7th at Las Madonnas College. We have a second place winner in math and computer science to a 10th grader, Sulana Sirnath, and her project title was Beyond the Kidneys, Renal Decline as a Predictor of Cognitive Impairment. And the fourth place for engineering science in 11th grade to Russell Mitchell, Optimizing Sound Dampening and Transmission using 3D printed acoustic filters with various infills and materials. I'd like to congratulate these 2 outstanding students who chose to compete out of 80,430 Contra Costa County students grades 7 through 12 in this Gateway Fair. Their courage was amazing and their work was also fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Nzeli?
I do not have anything. I did, but I left my notes and I don't want to meander. Because I just want to share something I went to, but I'll share it next time.
Okay, Trustee Lawrence?
So I would start. I've spent a great deal of time over the last few weeks meeting with members of the Bancroft community, both as a group and as individuals. And I think that we've repeatedly seen the pride and the passion that these families have. I've discussed with the superintendent and staff my hope and expectation that we can do, at this point, there is a legal and administrative process to this, and that we just do everything as a district to be as accommodating and supportive of these families, and I'm confident that we will as we go through this process. So that is one. Two, I just wanted to speak to I continue to believe that our adult education is one of the gems of this district, and I think there are a few things that are more inspiring than. And I want to acknowledge the courage that it takes for people who are learning their second or third language to come and speak publicly. That's daunting even in your primary language, and to do it and to do it so eloquently. And I think when I think to me about like what the American dream means and symbolizes, and that we have so many people who I believe are representative of that, who come from other countries, who seek a better life, who want to improve the opportunities for their family, for their children, and they engage in our community. They take advantage of the programs at adult education. I just believe that is something that's truly inspiring. I'm very proud that our district does so much to support that, and look forward to continuing that. And then third, I would just briefly note that as we continue to look at the challenges that we have around funding education, that the Department of Defense in the last month spent $93 billion, which is a record for defense expenditures. And so anytime you hear that we don't have the money for healthcare, that we don't have the money for education, it is hard to reconcile those two facts. And it's not a question of do we have the funds to do it, but rather do we have the political will to direct our resources towards education, towards healthcare, towards feeding families in need. Thank you.
Trustee McDougall?
Thank you. On the 28th of February, I was attending a 23rd annual jail ministry conference that we had on a Saturday near Sacramento. The people come from about 10 Northern California counties, and they're all volunteer chaplains in the jails and the prisons. Testimonies by former inmates were very rewarding to hear at this, and we're so pleased that it was a success this year. On March 4th, I went to the robot reveal at which high school?
Ignacio.
Yes, thank you, Ignacio. I put down the wrong high school here. It was so rewarding to hear and to see about all the hard work they had when they went to create their robot. And we wish them well in the upcoming competitions that are coming along. And then on March 6th and 9th, I went to the Social Emotional Learning Curriculum Review that is being held, or I guess it's finished today, at Willow Creek. I thought I'd go for one section and realized I needed much more time, so I went again this week. And so I found it very highly informative on the actual programs that are being considered. Thank you.
Thank you. I went to Shore Acres Elementary School, the ELAC meeting that the last Friday of the month, and they get really angry with me if I forget it. So, but actually it's a great meeting. Lots of parents there. They have a clear understanding of how their program's moving forward. They're very happy. They feel supported by the district, which is good. I went to Loma Vista on, I think it was Friday. I saw that they were having an event where the library was coming out. So people that were there during the day, students could get free books. So I went out and I visited that. And it's always fun to be at Loma Vista, and we've got our bridge students there, and we've got our English language learners that were here tonight there, and the library was handing out things. And then I noticed a sign that on the weekend they were going to have a family event with the library. So I went back on Saturday, and they had games for the kids. They had crafts for the reading the Hungry Caterpillar, and the kids were making a book, and they gave away free books to the kids. And I guess I was talking to Eric Wood. I want to say he said there was about 40 family or people that have gone through. So that was a really cool event. And I hadn't been to adult ed in a while, so I enjoyed going over there and visiting with Mr. Wood. It seemed like they're doing great things over there. I met briefly with Senator Grayson at the Ambrose Community Center last Friday, and told him we'll be speaking more about funding for schools in the future. And I think that was all I did this week. That was it. Wasn't much time, I guess, between the meetings.
Always happy to share kind of what's going on in the district and what's happening. Before I start, I want to open up my comments with some congratulations, and those congratulations would be to Prospect Continuation High School. They were just named a model continuation school, and so yep. Extremely proud of the hard work from that team there. Proud of this board for setting the expectation that we serve all of our students. Want to thank the administration and the staff there, and also our very own Melissa Brennan, who also was leading that school for the last several years. I think it says a lot about a district on what we do with our students who have historically been labeled as not engaged or needing extra support. And so to have Olympic High School and Prospect both as model continuation schools, extremely proud of that, and I'm just beyond excited. And then we also received great news that 2 of our middle schools have been identified as distinguished schools, and that is Pleasant Hill Middle School. So very proud for the work that's taken place over there. And then also Diablo View Middle School. So we should be very, very proud of the work of our secondary team and all of the staff over there of the work that they're doing. So so again, just wonderful things are happening, and I'm always super excited about the things going on here in Mount Diablo. So as I was putting together this week, thinking of a superintendent's update, I thought that I would just, all I got to do is just share our Friday letter and just really go through it and give it the time and respect that it truly deserves. So maybe you can just help me scroll, Mario, or you got your headphones on? Can you help me scroll? Because it's going to jump if I, yeah. So every one of our Friday letters since starts off with a very positive letter from myself, sort of highlighting the things that they will find in the Friday letter. We can continue to scroll. And then as we look into the, as we look, our spotlight, you know, it's no secret of what Project 212 does. They are truly amazing. Joseph Alvarico, past teacher of the year. You know, I often tell him that the way he runs his class is a model that I wish everyone would watch. He really is just a facilitator and lets the students really lead their work. And we've had them at this board before presenting, and this robot will go on and do wonderful things, and they will compete with schools from all over the area and even nationally. Last year they did go to MIT and scored very high in a contest that was going on there. Will you scroll, please? Oh, I got it. So, and then also last week we had the opportunity to go to the county office and to recognize 2 of our teachers of the year. We were there supporting April and Mary, you know, both from Bay Point, and they had quite a squad there to cheer them on. You see all of us who were just so proud of them and just you know, wanted to make sure that they knew how proud we were and that we support them. These are all the teachers of the year for the county, and so for us to have 2 there to represent was you know, just very proud of them and the work that they do. Can we scroll? And then as we continue down, special thanks. I don't know if you can scroll down some. All right. So it was social work. Week of the social worker, and so we have some amazing social work specialists, and we have interns who are all working with our students. We know that there's a lot going on in our world right now, regardless of who you are, but who that is impacting, I think, the most is our young people, and so young people are under a tremendous amount of pressure, and that comes out in various ways. And historically, where some schools have been not so accepting of that and really taken a more punitive route, we have taken much more of a empathetic route and really tried to follow best practices and what all the research said, and to provide our young people with a safe space and the support that they need. So really want to recognize those folks. And then just as we continue on, you know, we're something that I'm also very proud of is the dual enrollment that we have in this district, and the opportunities that we have for students just to take a college class and just to expose them to either something that they maybe want to pursue, or it may be a wake-up call that they don't want to pursue that. But everything we do is a way to direct and support our students in making those good decisions and preparing them for their futures. And of course, we have flyers for this, very transparent. We have them in Spanish. And then also we have an article there on our adult education, and we too, Trustee Lawrence, we value our adult school, value the work that they're doing. Again, we're you know, we're negotiating that, and as you know, negotiations take time, but definitely we value the work that they're doing, and want to highlight that in our letter. Also, as Trustee McDougall mentioned, SEL curriculum. Again, as whenever we adopt or present new materials, we want to be extremely transparent, and we have these materials available for folks to come look at, to review, to ask questions, to provide input. And so that's been going on. You see the dates and times there, and today was the last day that took place. And then we actually do a pilot And so you can see the schools there that are piloting, so that if it is something that we want to make more of a commitment to, then we've gone through that process. The next thing is our kindergarten transfer window. And I can't say enough about the work in our enrollment office, to be able to enroll so many students and find places for them to be able to land. It's just such a better service than having our students, having our families go out and visit 55 schools to enroll their students, but to be able to go to one spot. We're able to keep much better track of our students. We're able to allocate resources and staffing more appropriately, rather than taking an opportunity where we might miss the boat there, and then we don't have enough staff, or we're overstaffed, which is costly. So wanted to make sure that March 10th was the deadline. This letter went out last week, so hopefully all families that were interested in doing kindergarten transfers, they had that opportunity. We always list our board meetings and make sure that everyone knows that the board meeting is happening, whether they want to tune in or come and visit, but that information is readily available. And of course, we have the agenda. I mean, everything's there. So very transparent. There's a MDUSD Music Festival. This is going to be district-wide choir. So we wrote an article on that, and then also Northgate Band Area Festivals happening, and so and also College Park. So again, we just want to be able to highlight these things. In the time as I get news alerts all day, but just as we have so many districts around us who, are on strike, or districts are having to lay off hundreds and hundreds of employees, for us to be able to offer the programs that we do, and to be able to highlight them, and to be able to make sure that our students are receiving the very, very best possible education. I just think it's a testament to our teams for being very, very resourceful, but also very attentive to making sure that we allocate our resources appropriately, so that we don't find ourselves in a place where we have to lay off hundreds of employees. We would never want to do that. But unfortunately, the way school district funding is structured, there's a lot of misconceptions out there, and there's a lot of challenges, and it's not easy to present a 3-year budget that keeps you out of the red. And with 90% of our dollars going to salaries and benefits, it really doesn't leave much else. And so when these districts have these huge amounts of money to make up, they have to cut. And so we're very happy that we're able to provide these experiences for our students. I'm just going on. Our African American students has been a focus. They're part of our LCAP, and so we're having our APAC meeting over at Sequoia. I think it's happening tomorrow night, and just again, we want all of our parents to be engaged, and we have to continue to work to get more parents coming out and engaging in their students' education. And so this is one way that we're doing that. You can also see social media nights here March 12th. The district attorney's office is going to be there to present, but here we are inviting folks, again, just being transparent. We're hosting it at Valley View Middle School and also at Meadow Home. So we're doing it 2 different nights. And here we are putting that information out there. Monday, there is no school. We're doing an in-service, so hopefully we get high attendance rates from staff who need to be trained. We have a wide menu of offerings happening. I really want to thank the C&I department, curriculum instruction, for putting all that together, and also just all of our many different departments. There really truly is something for everybody. Both certificated and classified staff will be able to go through multiple trainings. As we continue on, just again, teen journaling workshop at YV, and we have this Northgate student that is leading that. Also, student film festival. So again, I mean, just as you read this letter and you think, all this in just 1 week. This is all that's happening, but week after week after week, we continue to show, show off our students and what they're doing. We're very proud of our College Park students for how they fared at mock trial. I think this is a great opportunity. These students, they go to Martinez, they go into the courtroom, and they take on real roles, and they take themselves very serious. You actually see them in suits and things like that. And I know we did a similar thing over at Northgate, but just to give our students that opportunity and to have those adults who work with those students and support them, just want to continue to highlight them. We have our very own Linda Mayo giving out a $500 scholarship on behalf of PTA to one of our wonderful students from YV. So happy about that. And then we always do a section on school news. And so this article was about the Wellness Center over at College Park, and you can see the therapy dogs there. I keep in my pocket. These are two other therapy dogs that come out to our schools, and they have little trading cards. But I always catch these students when I'm visiting over at Olympic, and so the students over at Olympic really enjoy these dogs, and so I was kind of a fanboy, so I got a couple of their cards, and so I keep them in my suit pocket here. And let's see what else we have. Just again, this is the Wellness Center. So it's just a safe space for students. So students having a bad day, students having issues, no matter how serious or how light. I mean, like if we have a student who's having suicidal tendencies or something like that, we will then take the necessary steps to get that student the help. But then we also just have students who just need a break and just need a place to go. And so all of our high schools have wellness centers, and we're really getting into the middle schools as well because it's an important place. So always pleased to see that. And then we have our social media highlights. But before that, Concord High School, I think at the last meeting, it was just all Concord High. They were just doing so many things, but this is a great thing. They send their link crew down to Wren Avenue. Wren Avenue has a high population of special day class students. And so they're there connecting with students, playing with students and just being mentors. And like, this is something that, I value heavily. And I'm just so glad to see that we have educators and folks who will do that. And then we have our social media highlights. Gregory Gardens is on here. I just, the work that comes out of Gregory Gardens is just truly amazing. Those little dinos are gators, dinosaurs, gators, but they are just the emphasis on students at that particular school is one that I just you just don't see all the time, but just very proud of that work happening. We got Mount Diablo L here, and here we have Holbrook, Sequoia Elementary, just, so many of our schools doing so many wonderful things, and just love to highlight those in our Friday letter. We have middle school highlights, Riverview, Sequoia Middle School, and we have Oak Grove up there as well. And then just our high schools. Those are three very, very bad wrestlers that I would not want to come across in a dark alley with, because one person you don't want to ever mess around with is a wrestler, because they will just like twist your wrist or put you in some hold or something. But very proud of them. They've all they've topped, these are state level wrestlers and things like that. So very, very proud of them. And then we have a class from Mount Diablo High School out at the Exploratorium. We have Olympic High School out at the USS Hornet, YV doing multicultural rallies. And then of course we have our calendar with our dates coming up. So that's my report. That's our Friday letter. I can't believe that all this takes place in 1 week on our campuses. And so board, you should be very proud of the programs that you all support and what you do. Again, we're gonna be hearing about our second interim budget tonight. So, uh, as I shared, these are challenging times in public education right now. And so, as long as we continue to stay committed to our goals, live within our means, and be responsible with how we treat our young people, then I'm very confident that we will continue to provide the services that we do. And with that, that concludes my report, unless there's any questions from any of the trustees.
Madam President, if I could. One, I so appreciate this. I look forward to it every week. I hear from the community about it, and there's a reason that this is actually spread throughout the nation, that there are other districts, that there are other communities that are looking at this as a model. And so I commend you and thank you for that. And then two, I'll just make mention that one of those wrestlers was a former unicorn warrior who was my center defender, and like nobody scored on us. And so those young ladies, I know they've been very tough and ferocious for a long time. So
yeah, we will not mess with them for any reason, and we will look for them for guidance and protection. So, all right.
Well, thank you for that report.
Yep.
Okay, takes us to consent agenda. Okay, we have a couple of comments. These are on the consent agenda. Okay, so we have okay, I'm just going to read it because I don't want to say the wrong title because then I'll be like in trouble. LTC Davis, Mary Villana, and Diego Lopez. Is that like Lieutenant Colonel? Oh, I would have got it right. Do you, yeah, are they all together?
There's also a card for Diego separately.
However you want.
Should this just be a presentation or how do I do it?
You're the lieutenant. I'm not going to argue with you.
Good evening.
Hold on just a second. Hold on. I gotta know the rules.
So it is public comment, so they can't just do a presentation, but you can allot them however much time you would like to give them
thank
during
you.
public comment.
Thank you.
3 minutes each. And no less.
Okay. Good evening, members of the board. My name is Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Mary Justine Villena, and I represent Mount Diablo High School JROTC Battalion in our Raider team. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak today. Our team is requesting approval for our trip to the JRTC National Fitness Competition in Florida. This year alone, our battalion has earned 5 first-place trophies in local JRTC competitions. Other battalions often ask us to compete because they believe that if Mount Diablo isn't there, the competition isn't complete. The best team should be on the field. Our Raider cadets have trained all year long to earn this opportunity. Even during Christmas break and other school holidays, when many students are resting at home, our cadets choose to wake up early and practice together. That dedication reflects the discipline, teamwork, and commitment that JRTC teaches every day. We also work hard to support ourselves. Our cadets organize and run fundraisers to help pay for transportation and meals for the competitions we attend locally. We take pride in representing our school and our district with professionalism and respect. At the national level, only the best Raider teams compete. For our cadets, this is more than just a trip. It is a chance to test themselves against the top teams in the country and prove their hard work matters. Opportunities like this build confidence and show young people that with discipline and perseverance, they can achieve something truly difficult. On behalf of the Mount Diablo JRTC Battalion, I respectfully ask for your support in approving this trip so our cadets can represent our school, our district, and our community on the national stage. We also request that you help us fund this trip because our principal has not. Lastly, we would also be honored to invite Dr. Clark to serve as our guest speaker at our upcoming military ball where we celebrate the dedication and achievements of our cadets. Thank you for your time and your continued support for our program.
Thank you.
you
got 3 minutes.
Good evening, Council. I'd like to start by giving you all copies.
I paused it.
Good evening, Council. I am Cadet Command Sergeant Major Diego Lopez. The JROTC department was recently informed that the Site Council will not provide funding for our trip to the National Fitness Competition. To date, the JROTC program has not received financial support from the school for this event or similar activities. An 8-passenger van was donated to the JROTC program to assist with transportation to competitions and events. The van is now being used as a community vehicle. The athletic department currently uses the van on a daily basis. For example, the golf team uses the vehicle for transportation of practices and matches for both the boys and girls team. The use of this van saves the athletic department transportation cost. Because the van was donated to support the JROTC program, it would be reasonable for the JROTC department to receive compensation for its use. Providing this reimbursement would help cover the JROTC transportation expenses and eliminate the need for the program to request funding from the Site Council for travel. Additional financial concern. Last year, the Site Council agreed to pay for the annual military ball. However, the cost of this event was ultimately paid out to the JROTC account rather than through the Site Council funding as agreed. The total cost of the military ball was $17,000. Our cadets work hard throughout the year to raise funds so they can participate in field trips, leadership activities, and competitions. These fundraising efforts are intended to support the cadet opportunities, not to cover expenses that had already been approved for funding through other school resources. Because the military ball was paid from the JROTC account despite the agreement, the program is respectfully requesting reimbursement of the $17,000 so those funds can be restored and used for cadet activities. In conclusion, the JROTC program provides valuable leadership training, citizenship development, and extracurricular opportunities for our students. Our cadets consistently demonstrate dedication and commitment by fundraising and representing the school at competitions and events, state and nationally. We respectfully request that the district review these concerns and consider providing appropriate reimbursements and support so that the JROTC program can continue to provide meaningful opportunities for our cadets and our parents.
Thank you.
Does the board have any questions for me or my commander?
It's public comment time, so we just take your public comment and then, but thank you.
Thank you.
Madam President, I would move that the board approve the consent agenda, but I would request to be able to speak on item 13.5 and 13.12.
You want to pull them or just?
Nope.
open them? Okay.
You're the one who told me that.
Second. Yeah, I was just making sure.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
So one, just on item 13.12, I would just look to the superintendent to follow up on the issues that were brought forward and share that in a timely manner with the board. And should we hold off on?
Yeah, why don't we take
Yep.
this comment? Sorry. Yeah, come on.
Yes, it happens. Okay, so I'm just speaking on 13.9, and I know I was notified by this by someone in HR. I understand that this is a recommendation to eliminate 2 curriculum specialist positions and create 1, and this is a executive director position. So again, it's a higher level, and there is supposedly cost benefit to this. But in reading the description, and I'm the person that picks on these things because I see throughout this document the collaboration. I love that word because I like to collaborate with people. I like to solve things at the lowest level if possible. So it's in writing, but I like to see it in action. So I just hope that in this particular, taking it off the agenda, this position will also strengthen collaboration across educational services and on and on. Perfect. I was glad to hear that. The executive director collaborates to design and implement professional learning. Great. Then down here in some of these bullet points, it says plans and coordinates calendar, organization, and contact of district staff development for certificated, my team, my group, and classified staff. So calendars, and I know Aaron DeMartini knows how I feel about calendars, and I'm calling you out, Aaron, because you know and I talk about calendars all the time. And coordinates, another bullet point, and supervise the selection, development, purchase, and implementation in collaboration, another. So I hear a lot of these things, but I want to make sure whoever this person is selected, they do collaborate with our educators. Our educators are the ones in the classroom. Our educators are the ones who can say, yes, this works because I've tried it, and or maybe we need to tweak it. But for somebody who's in an office, and I'm just going to say it most of the time, and not with the students every day, it's hard. It's hard to follow somebody if they're not working it. So that's why I brought this up. I was pleased to see the word collaboration, but I also like to see action. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Okay.
Yep. And then item 13.5 regarding referees. I just have, I think one of the underappreciated things is referees and umpires, and that there is a huge need for them. I've seen it at the youth level and at the high school level. Both my daughters, who are high school athletes, are also basketball referees. It's been a great experience for them. They don't ask me for money quite as frequently, which I also appreciate. And but I will share that over these last few years, I've noticed an increase in both at the high school and at the youth level of just vocal parent treatment of referees. And I think that that is something that we need to be mindful of, because we do need more referees, and mistakes are made. If any of you saw the highlights from last night's basketball game where a guy scored 83 points and set an NBA record for free throws, you will know that. But I just wanted to mention that. So thank you. I did make a motion.
Okay, the motion's made, and we've got a motion and a second. All righty then. No other comments? All those in favor? We have the motion by Lawrence, second by trustee Mayo, and as soon as it comes up, we will vote. And there we go. Did we lose you again? There we go. Okay. 500. Very good. Okay, that takes us to business action items. Dr. Clark, review of potential approval of the second interim.
Yes. So again, just with school finance, we do we start the year off with a first interim, and then there's particular assumptions that are in place, and then here we are in March, and we're probably about a month ago, we took a snapshot of all of our finances, all of our commitments, all of our encumbered funds, and we do another snapshot for 3 years out. We'll come back in June with our annual budget, and then we'll come back in October with our ending fund balance. And so 4 formal times a year, we present to this board on our overall budget. And we have our superstar team here, right here, our fiscal department, who knows how all these things work, and they are going to do this presentation in a way that we all can understand it and know where we are on this day. Mr. Vargas.
Thank you, Dr. Clark. I think I heard you say we start off with the adopted budget. Is that what you said?
No, I said we start off with the first interim, but,
Okay.
Yes.
So just the
school year, not the fiscal year.
We start off with the adopted budget. We go to first interim. We go to second interim. As I was explaining to one of our newer fiscal analysts today, there are third interims, but you do not want a third interim if you are a school district, because that usually tells you you're in trouble fiscally somewhere. So that, with that being said, we're here tonight. Myself, Gustavo Aguilera, our Executive Director of Fiscal Services, Brenda Barbera, our Director of Budget Accounting and Fiscal Compliance. So they will be assisting me tonight with the presentation. Again, these are our LCAP goals, and they drive all the work that we do. And as you heard Chris talk about with the transportation department. Our fiscal team is well aware of our LCAP goals and the work that they do and how we tie it to those 5 goals. So as a reminder, Dr. Clark kind of touched this briefly, but the reporting requirements, we're required to do 2 interim reports. The first one was first interim. That is taking data as of October 31st and projecting through June 30th of the fiscal year. The second one is second interim, and that is reflecting your projections as of January 31st. And again, we're projecting what we think we're going to spend through June 30th. So it is the snapshot of actual, it includes a snapshot of actual income and expenses through January 31st. Also part of the second interim is the multi-year projections, which show the current year and then what we project the next 2 years will be. Also part of this presentation towards the end, I will give you just a brief snapshot into what the 4th year potentially looks like. And again, it requires the governing board's approval and certification. There are 3 types of certifications. Positive means that you can meet your financial obligations for the current and 2 subsequent years. Qualified is that you may not meet financial obligations for the current and 2 subsequent years. So that's may not. And then negative is you will not meet. So for Mount Diablo, we are projecting that we will maintain our 3% minimum reserve requirement for economic uncertainties in the current year and the 2 subsequent years. And so we will recommend to the county and also for your review and approval a positive certification for the second interim financial report. And so with that, I will turn it over to Brenda, and she will talk about why we think we are going to self-certify as positive.
Good evening. Okay, so in this slide, we're going to talk about some highlights, the major variances between first and second interim. For revenue, the changes to unrestricted, there was an increase of about $3 million for unrestricted revenue, 1.5 being the LCFF, and then restricted revenues increased because we recognized Prop 28 revenue as well as some local revenue. For the expenditure variances, we had some restricted supplies and contracted services that decreased approximately 10.3 million to align with the projected spending for the remainder of the year. And we also had some capital outlay increases by about 1 million, mainly encompassing the purchase of the buses, as mentioned in the transportation presentation. Overall, expenditures are looking to have decreased by about 9.5 million. And this information that I'm sharing here at the high level is broken down in the figures noted in the revenue and expenditure tables that are following this slide. So here we see unrestricted, which is the highest revenue that we have at 95%. And then restricted, the highest that we have right now is the state funding at 72%, a combined revenue of 492.1 mil. And for the general fund expenditures, this does include the 2.3 retroactive for all the bargaining units, that raise that was included in here. And the next 2 slides provides an overall expenditure amounts and percentages in each of the area places. So this is, like I mentioned, the amounts, and the next slide, this slide talks about the overall pie information and percentages. So main takeaway, and we noted it at the bottom, are the salary and benefits, which comprise approximately of 93% of the district's unrestricted budget. So contributions, this slide provides us with information on what we contribute and the changes at each reporting period that we have mentioned, as well as variances. So if you look at, we have the adopted budget and what we projected at adopted, what was projected at first, and currently what we have projected, and the changes between the areas. There is that small adjustment of 650, which is just an adjustment that was needed to be in compliance with state and federal forms that get reported at each interim. So for this slide, the small graph to your left shows the high level view of our general fund, which is SACS Form 1, which is part of the packet that gets handed to each member. And the big takeaway from here is to look at the net increase and decrease row for that small graph. The graph to your right summarizes our components of ending fund balance, and really to look at what are the most important pieces. You want to make sure you're looking at the assignments section, as well as the reserve for economic uncertainty of 3%, making sure we are meeting that. And with that, we can go and talk about the other funds. So this next slide talks about all funds outside of the general fund. And more importantly, the takeaway from here is to look at the last column and noting that we have positive ending fund balances for each of those funding streams. And with that, I'll turn it over to Gustavo.
Thank you. Okay, this slide summarizes AB 2756, which increases fiscal oversight for school districts. First, it increases fiscal transparency as districts must submit multi-year projections and disclose deficits, reserves, and cash flow. Second, it expands authority to the County Office of Education. Third, it strengthens interim reporting. And finally, for districts that become at risk, AB 2756 allows stronger interventions, such as fiscal recovery plans, assigned advisors, and restrictions from COE or CDE. Multi-year projections are reasoned estimates of revenue and expenditures and ending fund balances over a 3-year window. They're not guarantees, they're best available forecasts based on what we know today. And because of funding, enrollment, staffing, and cost changes, NYPs must be updated regularly at each reporting period. Now I'll walk you through the key revenue assumptions that drive our NYP for 26-27 and 27-28. For enrollment in ADA, we're projecting flat enrollment at 29,371 students and 93.5% ADA for the next 2 years. Do want to note that at P1, we are at 94%, so that number would increase at our next reporting period. For LCFF revenue, we are assuming COLA at about 2.41% and 3.06% in the 2 out years, plus unduplicated pupil percentage at 55.9%. That increases LCFF revenue by $12.2 million in 26-27 and $11.3 million in 27-28, which includes TK add-on and enrollment adjustments. For federal, state, and local revenues, we are projecting them to remain flat after one-time revenues are removed, and we're also assuming a lower interest earnings, which hits unrestricted revenues in 26-27. For special education contribution, we are budgeting an ongoing contribution of about 3 million in 26-27 and 3.1 million in 27-28, which are due to salary and benefits and services. This slide shows our expenditures assumptions for the out years. Salary adjustments include a 1.56 step and column increase for certificated and classified staff. On the unrestricted side, we also included a 20 FTE reduction to align with the contracted class ratios for base staffing. The ongoing salary increases include a projected salary increase of 1.76% in 26-27 and 2.39% in 27-28. The restricted certificated salaries rise due to special education staffing growth, and that increase is offset off one-time funds ending. For benefits, STRS is steady at 19.10%. PERS is projected at 26.4% in 26-27 and 26-29% in 27-28. Overall benefit increases by about 1.2 million in 26-27 and 6.3 million in 27-28. And that's mostly because of the medical rates increasing. Some of the offset is off when one-time funds on the restricted side end in 26-27. For books and supplies, unrestricted costs drop in 26 and 27 because of LCAP carryover and one-time funds ending at about 1.42 million. That decrease is offset by around 900,000 in costs as some restricted grants expire and shift. Restricted books and supplies decline about 5.2 million because of major one-time spending ending in 26-27 and about 192,000 in 27-28. Contracted services and operating expenditures, unrestricted costs increase about 2.2 million in 26-27. That increase is mainly from removing one-time LCAP expenditures and then adding back expected insurance and liability assessments, invoice at 1.225 million and another 900,000 tied to expiring restricted grants. Restricted contracted services are expected to decrease with the removal of about 16.2 million in one-time costs in 26-27 and roughly 125,000 in 27-28. Capital outlay and indirect costs is projected to remain leveled over the multi-year after removal of one-time expenditures in 25 and 26. Indirect costs decreases in 26-27 due to the reduction of one-time and expiring grants spending, and it slightly increases in 27-28. And now I'll turn it over to Adrian for the remainder of the presentation.
I'll take it. All right, I'm back. So before we get into the second interim MYP, this just reflects the capital outlay and indirect cost adjustments. And basically, we're just adjusting for budgeting for the basic $1 million that we're going to spend on the buses and then reallocating it back to the buckets that we pulled it from to pay for it. So that's the adjustment on that. The other thing in terms of the MYP, just to kind of summarize the second interim, it's pretty much the same thing we did a year ago. Or what we did a year ago, but just as a reminder, at first interim, we had a lot of expenditures added to the budget. And that was primarily due to loading the carryover after we close the books that we present in September. So that change happens again. So we try to do our best job of what the expenditures are going to be on both sides of the budget. The unrestricted is the most important, and then restricted, like, because we have one-time funds, and so that's what you're seeing with the changes that Brenda talked about in terms of unrestricted and restricted, and most of the changes are restricted. So with that being said, this is the snapshot of the 3-year multi-year. Again, it outlines it by category, but it shows that we are deficit spending. We are at 21.6 million on the unrestricted side. I believe at first interim, we were projecting 23 million. So that has changed, and that is primarily due to the change in revenues. If you remember, I think I talked about it, the budget update, that our P1 was at 94%. So we went with an assumption of 93.5%. And just to give you an idea of what another 0.5% equates to, it's roughly $1.7 million on average every year. So that's what a 0.5 point is worth. If we were to go to 94.5%, it would generate 3.9 million every single year. So these are just numbers I run just to see what those scenarios would look like. So even with the enrollment that we have, if we continue to increase our absenteeism and our attendance rates, we can somewhat solve some of the problems that you will see potentially in the 4th year, or lower the projected deficits in the current 2nd and 3rd year. So moving on, again, we are looking to deficit spend 19 million in restricted funds this year. Those are really one-time funds, the block grants that are expiring, or block grants that we got in one-time nature. Moving on to the 2nd year, our projection for deficit spending and unrestricted resources is roughly 24 million. Still, we're continuing to spend down our one-time grants on the restricted side at roughly 11 million. And then the 3rd year out, our unrestricted deficit goes to 29 million. And then our restricted drops to 8.7 million. And as Gustavo mentioned in the assumptions, this was a big change from first interim. So at first interim, when we were accounting for the projected raises in the out years, a couple of things. One, just as a reminder, it is the funded COLA minus a 2/3%. So the COLA has changed. So now the projection right now with the COLA projections is 1.74% next year. I believe at first interim it was 2.35. And then in the 3rd year out, it's down to 2.39 from 2.75 at first interim. So the difference is I'm not reflecting it in the components of ending fund balance. That's where I was holding those dollars. I'm actually flowing it in the top part. So on the expenditure lines. So I remember, Trustee McDougall, you asked me a question at first interim about the deficit spending. And I was trying to explain that's not really the true number, because I haven't put the projected salaries and associated benefits with the salary increase in the top. So now it is. And so you see a better picture of what is going to be happening to the general fund. So just that's the biggest change from first interim to second interim. And I did that more so because I knew I was going to show the 4th year, and it just was not flowing the right way to explain what the 4th year looks like. So flowing it through the top shows a better picture of what the 4th year looks like. But again, we are deficit spending, and this is not anything new. We've been doing this since we signed off on the 9% salary increase 2 years ago, and it's our planned spend down of the fund balance. So moving on to the next slide, it is just a summary of the combined general fund budget. I went through those numbers, but basically deficit spending of 40.7 million in the current year, 34 almost 35 million in the second, and almost 38 million in the third year. Our fund balance is dropping from the beginning fund balance of almost 169 million to 55 million at the end of the third year. So again, I mean, we are watching this. This is a planned spend down. We are utilizing one-time funds. We got the new one-time block grant this year, roughly 8.3 million, and we are utilizing that to mitigate our reductions that you'll see some reductions from the resolutions after this, but those are primarily due to one-time funds or carryover funds. So getting to the fourth year, again, this is if you took all the assumptions, the COLAs that were given, the ongoing raises through 27, 28, and you take that impact. So just remember that an example is next year, the projected unrestricted impact of the increase is 5.1 million for salaries and benefits. So in this particular multi-year, that would be 5.1 million in 26, 27, and it flows all the way across. So if you were looking at that potential raise, it costs us like 15.3 million over that 4-year period, but it's really the 3-year impact. In the third year out, that projected salary and benefit increase comes to about 7.1 million. So in the fourth year, it reflects the cost in 27, 28 and the cost in 28, 29. So that impact to the multi-year is 14.2 million. So that all being said, if we had to adopt the budget tonight, we would be doing a resolution that would get us somewhere around $10.5 million in reductions. So we are still working through budget development. The state budget is not enacted. We do have 2 proposals on the table from the governor. One is another continued one-time block grant that would generate about $14 million for Mount Diablo. The other proposal is the final payment on the Learning Recovery Emergency Block Grant that they took away from us 2 years ago, and that would generate about 2.9 million. So more than, I mean, all I keep reading is the state revenues are outperforming the governor's projections. So if we continue to hear that, my guess is more than likely those 2 proposals are going to go through. So if they go through, and we'll know that in mid-May, then that 21 million may turn into a $4 million problem. Again, we will consistently look at the budget as we prepare to bring it in the first meeting in June, because we have to do estimated actual. So we'll go through the budget again. And if we can see any savings, we will do that. But my guess is more than likely the adopted budget will have some type of resolution. So just future considerations, again, the federal policy changes, we went through the whole title scare, I guess is what I would call it. I mean, we're kind of through for this year and next year because they signed off on that. And I think the funding was pretty flat. I mean, there's small adjustments. We still, as I talked about, we're monitoring our expiring funds and spending down of one-time funds. And then, as Gustavo talked about, we do have some cost increase adjustments in the out years for our health and welfare. It's roughly a 15% increase, but just know that it only impacts 6 months of a fiscal year because of the way the calendar works. So we do have dollars built in to adjust for that kind of rate or cost increase for health benefits. Insurance, I mean, I'll get my first look from our property and liability in the next couple of weeks of what that might look like. We still do not have the self-invoice. Last year it was $2.4 million, which was like $1.5 million more than we paid the year prior. Don't know what that looks like. Hopefully we get that in the next couple of months. But that will be built into the budget and multi-year. And then lastly, we monitor enrollment and student absence rates. And again, you know, at 94%, that's a, I mean, we're trending up. And I know that our student services and ed services are working very closely together on, you know, our new attendance recovery program that it's new this year and it was enacted as part of the state budget. So we're trying to leverage that to increase it even more. But you know, to go from the budget assumption of 93% and then to CRP1 at 94, like we are doing good things. So if we continue that, I gave you the numbers, 1.7 million for a half a point bump, 3.9 million for a 1 point bump. So we can kind of help ourselves, but we just got to continue to do that work. So with that, again, we will make our 3% minimum reserve, and we recommend, or we are recommending, a self-certification of positive. And then moving through the timeline, we're doing the second interim report today. We continue budget development all the way through the end of May. We will get the May revised proposals, so we should know what COLA looks like, as well as the one-time block grant coming through, as well as the learning recovery, and then any other proposals that are within the governor's proposal. Those are the two I'm paying attention to. And then in June, we will be back in the first board meeting for the public hearing on the budget and LCAP at the same time. And then the second board meeting will be looking to approve our 26-27 budget. So with that, I will take any questions.
Could we go back to the multi-year projection with the fourth year slide? And you touched upon this, but I was hoping if you could give maybe some more color around. I'm just looking at the expenditures, total expenditures by year of 532 million down to 520, then back up to 534. And it looks like a lot of that is driven by a projected increase in the unrestricted expenditures for the next 2 years, and then a decrease from this year, and then kind of staying flat on the restricted. So it looks like salary and benefits are driving the unrestricted increase, and then we're projecting a decrease like in books and supplies and the other services. So I just wanted to, one, make sure I'm understanding that correctly, and two, if you could just give any more color around that.
So the driving force in the out years is including the projected salaries and benefits related to the ongoing salary increases. So that's why you're seeing those increases. You're also seeing increases in salaries and benefits related to the 1.56% assumption we use for step and column, mainly step movement. So that impacts it as well. Like if I had off the top of my head, it's somewhere in the range of like $2.5 million in each of the next 2 years, just on that 1.56%. We adjust for the PERS actually decreasing, then it goes up, and then it drops again. So we do that adjustment. Like I said, we do have dollars built in for the health and welfare increase on the unrestricted side. Off the top of my head, is probably somewhere in the range of about $3 million a year that we're building into that. We also are building the $3 million expenditures related to potential increases in special ed. And so we basically take what our budget is now, and I'm applying like a 2.5% increase. Doesn't mean that we're going to cover whatever may happen, because no one can really predict that, but we're building in some safeguards. And historically, since I've been here, that's been the rough number, about 3 million in potential increases in special ed. And so that is part of it. On the unrestricted, for restricted, it's a little bit more difficult in terms to kind of pinpoint what it is, but really what it is us utilizing one-time dollars. So like the student support and professional development block grant, you have 8.3 million flowing through the MYP. So we're spending roughly a third of it in each of the next 3 years. And so in the fourth year, you'll see that drop. So that's a good example of what you would see drop in the fourth year. Learning Recovery Emergency Block Grant, the same thing. Like, we only have so many dollars, so we're spending it down in year 1, 2, 3, and then year 4, it drops. So again, the fourth year is built just with the basic assumptions that we're using. And we will, as we get closer to finalizing the budget, we're going to get a truer picture of what the third year looks like. You're
welcome. Excuse me. I am encouraged that the deficit spending in this year actually went down from 44 million to 40.6 or 40.7. That's good news.
Yes.
But it looks like the deficit spending for the next year is up to 34.8 million, and the year beyond that, 37.8 million. So those are higher amounts than the projection we saw, I believe, at the first interim.
Right.
So good news, bad news. We started last year with 168 million in reserve fund, but we'll be down to 55 million at the end of 28. And then you put in the fourth year here, and that circled amount is down to 21 million.
Well, actually, it's a negative amount. So we're negative fund balance. So we have to make that up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at the 34 million taken away from the 55 at the end of 28, and that gives you the 21, doesn't it?
But it's the unrestricted.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. It's just in the unrestricted column. Yeah. All right. So we're spending it, and you might say wildly, anytime we're spending 40 million more and 28 million more and 35 million more than we've got, it seems that we'll be courting trouble. That's my concern. Maybe similar to what other local districts are experiencing. I hope not. We're doing better than other local districts. But let me read a comment from the letter from the County Office of Education that I thought interesting. Continued deficit spending erodes the fund balance and reduces the district's ability to respond to uncertain statewide economic conditions, potential impacts from legislative changes or unfunded mandates, and cost pressures related to special education, utilities, and employee benefits. We strongly encourage the district to adopt a multi-year fiscal plan that eliminates structural deficits, aligns expenditures with available revenue, and maintains sufficient reserves to safeguard fiscal solvency. And so that's what I'm hoping we'll follow is their recommendations, because we don't want to see us getting into trouble. That's my comment. Thank you.
Any comments over here? I thought you would, Ms. Mayo, at least comment on how this is how it is all the time. And then somehow, because the funding comes in and a percentage change, the ship tilts back. So I appreciate your concerns, but it's pretty common in the education world.
This was planned spending over time, and we have one-time funds that are expiring in the different years, and it all contributes to those red numbers over time. And yes, I am anxious very often, but the key time, the point in time is following the information that's coming out of the LAO and the governor's department funding, and then also waiting for the May revise. And we're just on pins and needles until that point in time. And we have to have faith in our folks that are spending the money at our school sites and our fiscal department in assuring that the numbers are accurate for our review. Right.
Quick comment. Again, I want to thank the team for this presentation. I think it also just really builds on my comments earlier after Mr. Lepe's presentation, that all of us work together, right? We saw flat enrollment in there. There's a reason why we have flat enrollment, and we're able to track that. We saw an increase in our or a decrease in our chronic absenteeism. So we're increasing our daily attendance, which really takes everybody. You know, I'm glad that Linda Ortega is in here. She talked earlier about collaboration. I'm glad that we have, you know, the leader of our largest employee group hearing the budget and knowing how we can continue to collaborate to make sure that we don't run into some of the challenges that some of our other districts are facing. And so just every single person in this room plays a role in this budget. And it's not just the fiscal department budget, it's all of our budgets. And so the better we understand it and the better we engage with it, the more that we can use to support our students, which is the only reason why we're here. So so I want to thank your team. I want to thank Gustavo. I want to thank Brenda, and thank Adrian. And it's not just you three. You guys have a whole team of people who are working. And again, that breakdown goes throughout the fiscal department, accounts payable, payroll, you know, all of that contributes to this.
Okay. Having said that and heard that, I will entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the Mount Diablo Unified School District second interim report.
Second.
Motion by trustee Xavier, second by trustee McDougall. And that, not up there yet, but it did pass. There we go, 5-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to all of you. 16.2, review and potential approval of resolution 25/26-55.
And we have Mr. Sheehy for the next two items.
Dean. Yes, tonight we have for the board a resolution to reduce the number of certificated employees based on a reduction or discontinuance of certain particular kinds of service known as the PKS list on the certificated side. And tonight we have a reduction of 14.5 FTE.
Okay. Any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Madam President, I move the board approve resolution 25/26-55 to reduce the number of certificated employees based on a reduction or discontinuance of certain particular kinds of service.
Second.
Okay, motion by trustee Mayo, second by trustee Lawrence. And that passes 5-0.
And next on the agenda, we have resolution to reduce the number of classified employees based on lack of work or lack of funds. This is a much smaller resolution than the last one we brought at the last meeting for a total of 3.46875 FTE.
Thank you. Any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Madam President, I'd like to move that we approve Resolution 25/2656, reducing or discontinuing the number of classified employees for this year.
Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion by trustee McDougall, a second by trustee Nzewi. And that passes 5-0. Okay. 16.4, review and potential approval of changes to board policies and administrative regulations per California School Board Association recommendations for September 2024. This one is.
We have two.
First read.
We have two for the first read.
That one's good. Okay, 16.5, review and potential approval of changes to board policies and administrative regulations per California School Board Association recommendation December 2024. This one is back for approval.
Madam President, I move that the board approve item 16.5, changes to board policies and administrative regulations per CSBA recommendations, December 2024 quarterly update.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by trustee Lawrence, a second by trustee McDougall. And that passes 500. 16.5, review and potential approval of changes to board policies and administrative regulations for California School Board Association from December 2024. This one's back for action.
Madam President, I move we approve the changes made to Board Policy 3516.5 as presented.
Second.
Motion second, motion by trustee Mayo, second by trustee McDougall. That motion passes 500. That was it. We got two more. So unless
We're
somebody-
looking concerned over there. We all good? Okay. All right.
Got it. Okay. So unless someone's dying to stay here, we are adjourned.